I'm Terry Saunders.
Record scratch. Freeze frame. Yep, that's me. And I know what you're thinking. Who is that c***? Well, I used to be a comedian, but I retired from being funny. I've loved F1 since I was 9, and for the last few years I've done a podcast for F1's sake. But the sport is far from perfect, and it takes itself far too seriously. So I think it needs to be made fun of. It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
This is the state of F1. One of the biggest problems with F1 is that everyone involved in making it goes to all the races. They live in a tiny bubble, and the only time they get anywhere near to watching it on telly is when it's being played in the background of their post-race yacht orgy. Whereas the vast majority of us only get to watch it on TV, and it's shit on the telly. We're told of all the glamorous places F1 goes to, but apart from a montage of the local landmarks, an interview with the local driver and some tenuous crofty facts, once the race starts, we haven't got a clue where they are. It's actually kind of pointless when you think about it. People say that Formula 1 is just cars going around in circles, whereas actually it's a bunch of people going around the world in circles just to get there and then have cars go around in circles. Why can't more tracks have more of a kind of nod to where they are? If you turn on the Brazilian Grand Prix halfway through, you'll see that the curbs are green and yellow to give you a real sense through your telly that you're about to get kidnapped. If only more tracks would do this, you could have Zandvoort painted orange, you could have a €1 coin superglued to the start-finish line of the Monaco Grand Prix, or the Bahrain track could be splattered red for all the people who have died there. The problem with watching F1 on telly is it doesn't look very impressive. The cars don't look very fast, and it's like the F1 TV directors have only got 5 camera angles in their repertoire to choose from. There's that sweeping shot they use where the cars are coming from a distance towards the camera. I mean, it's beautiful, and I'm sure in the bar afterwards everyone tells the director that that shot should have won an Oscar and it moved them to tears, but it's not the best way to show speed. These cars are going at 200 miles an hour, but you wouldn't know it. It's a bit like when you see an ex-colleague in the street and you think, should I say hello? Will they even remember me? And you overthink it and you think, should I just cross the road to avoid it? But you think, no, I'm going to stick it out, and you get to them and you say hello and they blank you. Then there's the, we've worked out how to put a camera in the ground, so by God we're going to use it angle. I mean, it might be interesting once in a race to see the underside of the cars going overhead, but it doesn't really help tell the story of the race unfold. But it's not as bad as... It's the fastest sport in the world, and yet the directors have got a hard-on for watching the cars wobble about in slow motion. And then there's the camera crane. And the best way to make the camera crane work is to have the car static in the middle of the shot, which kind of makes it look like it's not moving. The camera crane's also really good for that just missed the crash angle. Finally, there's the helicopter. Is there anything more F1 than having a helicopter track in the cars? In the 80s, it was all full of flickery and full of interference, so it felt on the edge. But now it's a perfect 4K picture. It just looks like a computer game. In fact, the only way to really make F1 coverage look quick is to watch a Formula E race just before. I don't know. F1 coverage is certainly beautiful and HD and well shot, but it's just lost something that makes it kind of terrifying and exciting. At Baku, they race around a narrow bit of track next to a castle at 200 miles an hour, and somehow it still looks boring. Compare that to the famous 1988 Ayrton Senna in a McLaren Honda at Monaco, where it's going around the track and it's terrifying. Obviously we can't show you this footage because F1 Registered Trademark hates you, but it looks something like this. Technically that footage is actually quite crap. It's all fuzzy and it keeps cutting out as if the camera is shitting itself and shutting its eyes thinking it's going to die. But that's what adds to the excitement of it. You can watch that clip on your phone on YouTube and you feel like you're Ayrton Senna driving around the track. These days the drivers have to play with dials and press buttons on their steering wheel so much, and you think if Ayrton Senna took his hand off the wheel, he'd be dead now.
Don't worry, I have a solution.
F1 needs to invest in the in-app purchase camera upgrades kit. We need more shots of the cars zipping from left to right, narrow fields of view, crazy angles. Let's have more cameras on the cars, let's have them spinning around in the wheels or floating just above in space. F1 needs to look scary again, and when it looks scary, then it will be exciting. Also, fan footage. If you sign a waiver for insurance purposes, you're allowed past the safety barriers and you can live stream the race from your phone. We get to see all kinds of crazy camera angles, and we get to see fans swimming about on the track. And also, if your shots are really good, or if you die, you might make the Channel 4 highlights.
I've got a podcast for Formula 1's sake. You'll probably hate it.